Now see, any ceiling fan that you install, if you do the pancake box technique, kind of like how I'm showing you, you can do it, but you've got to obviously hit a joist, and you've got to do it in such a way to get the wire across there and all that. Now, they have other brackets at the store, but I wouldn't have been able to use anything else because there was no attic. Now, if there was an attic above there, if you didn't feel comfortable doing it like that, they have the box on a sliding rod that hangs down. You take the rod and slide it in between your floor joists, your ceiling joists, whatever you have up there. Then you have to make sure you have somebody down below so you know that the box isn't going to hang down too far. It's not going to be up too high, and you can do something like that too. Make sure you get the boxes that are designed and meant for a ceiling fan, not just for a light fixture. Okay, if you're doing this and if you have an inspector look at the work, he wants to make sure that your approved boxes are approved for an actual ceiling fan rather than a light fixture, because the ceiling fan holds more weight. Okay, so one step at a time. Do you know what the next step is? Hey, is there a right or wrong step next? Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth? Not really. I mean, I could start, if I really wanted to get energetic, I could open up the ceiling fan box, get that all ready, start installing that. But I'm gonna decide to finish this up. I like to finish up one thing at a time. So I'm gonna pull the wire back just a little bit. Remember, I had a little bit of slop up there? I can pull it back just a little bit, and then I'll get my box ready. My box that I cut out from there. Remember? I'm going to reuse this same box. I'm going to snip off the edge of the part that I initially cut off, just so it's not going to be in my way when I get it up there. Right along there and right along there. I'm just going to take my wire nippers, my electrical cutters nippers, and do that. And then I'll prep the box, because remember, I've got two areas for wires, and I could sneak that other wire through one of those. You know, I could just run two wires through one opening and one wire through the other one. I don't necessarily have to knock out one of those other ones. This box is designed that you can poke those out for 4 different wires. And see, initially those kind of push in too on a kind of springy. You kind of loosen that, and then that's kind of the same idea of when you slide your wire in there. Then the plastic bit kind of kicks back on it, and you can do it that way. You don't necessarily have to cut them out like that. I ended up doing that just to get the box out of there easier. Do you see what I mean? Or else I wouldn't have been able to pull those wires out of there. Okay, so I'm gonna get that set up, because last night I didn't turn the power back on for the smoke alarm, so I think I should get this done, get the box up, reinstall the smoke alarm, do all that kind of stuff in case I run behind schedule, and if I don't have enough time to finish the ceiling fan, let's say, I can put some wire nuts on there and then turn the breaker back on, and the smoke alarms will work for tonight. You see what I mean? And as for you not having enough time, hey, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. You know, and you may or may not be either. So know your limitations. Like yesterday, with all the different stuff I showed you, getting behind there, pulling that plywood off, making sure, determination whether or not there was this type of joist up here or not, taking this out, cutting the box out, taking the crawl hole cover off, inspecting that, putting the plywood back on underneath the house and everything, and then getting this hole prep for it, and then fishing that wire. You've got to know your limitations, because there's only so many hours that I can do something like that hard. I used to be able to work, do an all-nighter doing a tenant improvement, having to make sure I'm ready for an inspection or for a final inspection or something like that. My record is 42 hours straight working, no sleep, maybe eating a little bit in between, and then working all night and working the next day and until I got up to a certain point. I can't do stuff like that anymore. You know, five or 6 hours, and that's about it for me, depending what I'm doing. And yesterday, it just kicked my butt. You know, my back was sore. I took a hot shower, took a hot bath, and I just laid there in comatose state, dreading the fact that I gotta fish that up, and I hope I can fish that up. And son of a gun, it went right through today. Okay, so know your limitations and your boundaries. You know, up and down this ladder, I don't know how many times I went up and down the ladder to check here, up and down the ladder to reach over there, up and down the ladder, you know, for all the other stuff. Everything, because it's up, you know, 10-foot ceilings, up and down the ladder. You're working off a ladder, your feet get sore, your back gets sore. I couldn't work directly there, trying to fish that through there with my left hand, and then I would get tired, and then I'd have to flip it over and do my right hand as I'm facing backwards, and I just couldn't get it. And doing all that straining and stuff, man, your body's gonna feel it. So, you know, when you feel like you've got to stop for the day, stop, you know. And so that's what I'm saying here. If I don't have enough time to do everything, and I start installing the ceiling fan after doing the smoke alarm and stuff, if I don't get the whole thing done, as long as I have wire nets on here, I turn the breaker back on and my smoke alarms go on. If I decide I don't want the smoke alarms on, I won't turn that breaker on for tonight again. You know, always have like a game plan, a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. As you remember, I had a plan A, and then I thought that wasn't going to work, so I tried the plan B, then I tried the plan C, and then because I knew I could get up through here, it was back to plan A, knowing full well that I should be able to somehow fish a wire from here to there through those open, gusseted I-beams, and those TGI floor joists. Okay. All right, enough of that. So I'm gonna prep this box, like I said, and then I've got to hold that box up there and drill some holes, eyeball the holes, because I can't just drill the holes flat. I'm gonna have to drill them up at an angle. You see what I mean? And I may have to do it from down here because I'm gonna have 3 wires sticking out. And if you ever want to put your box up there and double check stuff, you can push your wires up out of the way far enough to where you can get your box put up there and make sure it's going to fit and all that. And then you can reach up there and pull the wires back down. I've done that many times. You might think, oh, what if the wire goes way back and I can't reach it? Well, more times than not, that's not going to happen. But because that wire is down there, I don't necessarily have to put the box up there. The box was there before. I pulled the box down. I had to cut the hole just slightly bigger. But as you can see, I did not damage the drywall around that hole or anything. And that's the idea here. You do things in such a way, is it possible to do this whole job without damaging the drywall, without cutting holes in the drywall to fish a wire up and not cut holes in here because you got ceiling joists? Is it possible? I'll let you be the judge of that.